Juddy,
Zach,
we're here.
it's
Episode.
episode 3.
It is episode 3. How about it? We made it.
We did. Um, Hello, everyone. Welcome
Howdy.
back.
Welcome back to Scratch the Hog. Still working out the kinks. This is episode 3, and we're all over. You can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes. Scratch the Hog. Just search for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it. So we had someone email us.
We did, and
Yeah, it's very exciting.
they came up with maybe a better name for our fandom than we even had.
I think they did.
Yeah, they did. Hogaholics. Love that. So yeah, we did get an email. It was from Suzanne, friend of the show, and subject line Hogaholic. And it reads, Justin and Zach, first time writer, long time listener, love the podcast, exclamation mark. I was listening on my way home from our local grocery store after getting a bite to eat for lunch, aka cubed meat and cheese.
That is a great lunch, by the way.
You love a light charcuterie board?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little pepperoni, little cheese.
Oh, yeah. Little pep,
Yeah. Pep.
little pep, and some cheese. I'm all for it.
Excellent. And I would love to know your opinion on what items in the middle aisles of the grocery store are worth taking a minute to make yourself. Thanks, Suzanne.
Thank you, Suzanne, for that great and really tough question. I read this early this afternoon, and I've been thinking all day about it. Um, and it's a tricky one because there's so many different things in the middle of the aisle that I like to make. More so, it's just like different ingredients for me personally. Um, I feel like pasta, absolutely number one. Like center store middle aisle thing that I go to that I like to make pasta. Um, Mandy and I always make sure we have a box of either Kraft mac and cheese or Velveeta
Okay.
shells and cheese as an emergency. Like if we both just had like a really shitty day and we don't feel like cooking and we just like hate the world, we will like whip up a box of this mac and cheese and we'll just
Some
devour the whole thing.
some Velveeta shells. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's I think for some context, when we talk about how grocery stores are laid out, you often hear people say "shop the perimeter." Right? Shop the
Mhm. Yeah.
perimeter means, um, more or less non-processed stuff. That's where your produce is. That's where your dairy is. That's where your meat is. Not obviously, not everything on the perimeter is, deemed healthy or anything, but that's
Hmm.
sort of a guideline. And then like the inner aisles are where your more processed type stuff is. So
Hmm.
certainly pasta. I think beans are super underrated.
They are.
Per your hat, you're wearing your beans hat today.
Yes, my bean dad hat.
Yeah, your bean
Daddy
dad hat. And
beans.
what about Daddy Beans? Okay, Daddy Beans. And then what about like your grains, rice, barley, things like that.
Hmm.
I think I love barley. I
Hmm.
like to um, make a lot of things with barley personally.
Same. Yeah. Um, Mandy and I really love to substitute barley instead of rice when we make risotto.
Okay.
It's a really good substitute.
Really?
Um,
Does it get
yeah,
creamy?
like if you it does get creamy. It does release quite a bit of starch. Not as
Okay.
creamy as risotto, but it's I mean, if you want to call it a healthier option, I mean, you're still putting it's still a dish to be indulgent with. But if you
Hmm.
want something that's, I guess, more whole grains and maybe like a chewier texture,
I love
then
the texture of
that's
barley.
that's
That's what
what
I love about
yeah.
it. I like making like an ever like a just almost like a quinoa salad, but sometimes I substitute barley, so it's something I can
Mm-hmm.
keep cold in the fridge and kind of pull out. Often has beans in it,
Mm-hmm.
lots of herbs. It's really good. What
Yeah.
about the middle aisles that um, you maybe the junk? What do you like to indulge with? In the like, if it's not Velveets and cheese, what are you grabbing? Feeling really low.
Oh.
Maybe Mandy's out of town. You know,
um. Oh man, what do I what do I go for?
I can tell you
For
mine while you're thinking if you want.
yes, please
Okay,
do.
so this is Jess is out of town, and I am uh, just going to be bad. So I'm probably going to go to the grocery store, and I'm gonna get um, like a quart of 2% milk, which I don't drink milk because I'm lactose intolerant. So we're already off to a good
Mhm.
start.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to go and get Oreos or Nutter Butters,
Oh
and
yes.
I am just going to stand over my kitchen island, dunking a sleeve at a time, like into milk, and then I'm going to feel terrible about myself. Really,
So
really,
I
really
mean,
bad about myself.
but like bad in a good way,
Eh,
right? Yeah.
but also bad in a bad way. Also bad in a bad way.
um. So where my mind usually goes to, and like this is a weird. I mean, it's not weird per se. So I love cereal. Like I'm a big cereal guy.
Uh huh.
Lately, I've been trying to go more into like the healthier cereals just so I can like lose some weight. But like if I were to, pick a cereal, it's like Oreo O's actually is like one of my
Oreo
favorite cereals.
O's.
Oreo O's. Um, I'll get a box of that, and maybe like if it's like around Halloween time, I'll get some Count Chocula and like those types of cereals, like sugary type cereals that like I at 37 should not be eating.
I've never
But
eaten either of those cereals in my life.
they are probably going to live a lot longer than I am. Um,
Count
but
Chocula.
there's
I didn't
but
even know they still made Count Chocula.
yeah, dude, they used to have it year round
Okay, so it's a
years
Halloween
ago.
thing. Got it.
But
Got it. Makes
now
sense.
it is a Halloween thing. But they brought back, I mean, like the Blueberry and Frankenberry, those have been around forever. But they started bringing back like the really old, um, like Halloween, like fruit flavor, like cereal flavors, like Fruit Brute. I think they brought back like fruit, like Yummy Mummy, which was like a 1980s cereal that they're like bringing it back.
Is this only for
Um,
the holiday, like Halloween?
only for Halloween. Yeah, unfortunately.
Got it.
But I will snack on cereal throughout the day. Like I'll have some at breakfast, a little bit at lunch, and then
Okay.
after dinner, if I want something sweet, let's like a tiny bowl of cereal after dinner.
Um, I'm trying to think. I don't eat a lot of cereal anymore. And that's not like I'm not knocking people that eat cereal by any means. It sort of goes hand in hand with like the minimizing the dairy intake.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm trying to think of like there were my two, like if I think about like childhood cereal, right? There are two that stand out. One is Cookie Crisp,
Mm-hmm. It's a good
and
one.
the other one is probably Captain Crunch. Uh,
Ooh,
and not peanut butter. I don't think, but I actually like the plain Captain Crunch and also the berry Captain Crunch. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm learning new things about you every episode. I'm just
Why?
wow. I don't know anyone that likes regular Captain Crunch except for
Oh,
now.
really?
But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Really?
it's
I'm the first
surprising.
person.
Yeah,
This is why we do this. We just like to learn about each other.
I know, and I love it.
That's
It's
so
great.
funny. Um, yeah, you know what? I hated. Didn't wasn't there like a Rice Krispie treat cereal? I thought
Yes,
that
and
was
it was
just
my absolute.
horrendous.
Oh, dude, it was my favorite. One of
Oh
my
my god, that was
favorites.
like my teeth were gonna rot out trying to eat that. It was
I mean,
so sweet.
that could explain why I have a lot of like dental issues now. I mean, it could be that I
That's
was
funny.
afraid of the dentist and didn't go that often, or it could be of all the Rice Krispie treat cereal.
Gotcha. But you didn't like Cookie Crisp?
No, I liked Cookie Crisp. I just
Okay,
didn't
but
like I didn't like Captain Crunch.
none of them. Peanut butter,
Oh, I
berry
like the
Captain.
peanut butter. Um, it's like mainly because the texture of the regular was just
Oh yeah,
so tough.
it
It
was
like
like eating glass. It would shred your
it,
mouth.
yeah,
Complete. 100%. I'm not fighting that.
yeah, it was
It's like
so
eating
bad.
bits of fiberglass. You could. That was probably fire retardant. There's no doubt. It doubled as house insulation or something. Um,
Asbestos crunch.
it was pretty much. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah,
I just liked
yeah.
cereals that you could get a lot of them on the spoon. So like Fruity
Mm-hmm.
Pebbles. Like, do you
Oh
remember like
yeah.
how much like you could load a spoon up with Fruity
Oh
Pebbles? Like it was just like
hell
the
yeah.
densest cereal.
Yeah.
So like those are
And
the types of things I liked.
oh, and Cocoa Pebbles, man.
No, don't like it.
Oh yeah, you don't like chocolate.
I'm not
I
like into
forgot.
like the crazy chocolatey stuff. Yeah, I did
Man,
like Fruity
yeah,
Pebbles though.
yeah. Fruity Pebbles is good.
There was kind of a sweet spot though because they were like most cereals they start out like too crunchy and then they're perfect and then they turn into like soggy mush.
They
So
just disintegrate into the milk.
I always sat there with the box and loaded up as I ate, and then like by the end you're just eating
Um,
the entire box because you're not even sure how many bowls you had because you're just putting a little bit at a time to keep it at the right cereal to milk ratio.
wasn't like a serving size like a half a cup or some weird bullshit like that for cereal,
I
but like
assume I
no grown adult ever follows that.
I vividly recall eating a box of cereal like before in a day, like as a child. Like I can recall that an entire box of. I mean, you couldn't even afford to do that today.
No,
It's so expensive.
yeah,
Um. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe swing it back around to the questions. Uh,
yeah. It's like I feel like we haven't answered Suzanne's question at all, really.
the center aisles for me I think it's sort of the grain section.
Hmm.
um get some barley, get some lentils. I
Yeah.
think that would be a good place to start.
Hmm.
And I like that because thinking about cooking, I don't always have time to like cook lunch or something, and
Right.
making a nice refreshing salad that can be in the fridge and you can pull out is really really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good
Trying to
ones.
think
Oatmeal,
what
oatmeal is another good one. Um,
oats.
yeah, oats for sure. I feel like there's a lot you could do with oats. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
one thing that I would love to do with oats is like experiment like on the savory side of things with oats. Make like savory oatmeal and not so much like sweet oatmeal.
Okay.
You know.
Tell me more.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I need to look more into it. It's just the other day I was thinking because I had my little bowl of oats for breakfast, and I was thinking, I only eat oats, whether it's in like cookies or for breakfast. It's always in like a sweet application, and
Hmm.
why can't oats be in like a savory application?
Well,
What can you do it?
I also think that oats, they're often a substitute for like a healthier option dessert that never tastes good. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, don't
Hmm.
worry, just don't use flour. Use a bunch of oats, and you get like this weird, dry, dense hockey puck of a thing that's like not edible. But
Right.
for some reason, people make it because they saw it on TikTok.
Uh, that's another topic for another day. And I was even thinking about that today while thinking of stuff to talk about. And now I'm just going on a tangent. It's like
That's okay.
disastrous, like TikTok recipe videos. But we will revisit that later.
Yeah.
Um,
When I'm in
but no,
when I'm
yeah,
in a when I'm in a worse mood, I think we could
yeah,
really go off on those.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely pasta, beans, grains, absolutely. Um, it's because I feel like you have more control with those things, and they're not as, um, yeah, they're not like, super processed. Um, you could do like a wide variety of things with them.
Hmm.
Um, and then also just depends on how adventurous you want to be. Um, if you want to try something new, try some lentils. Like get some dried lentils. Make like a lentil chili or a shakshuka or something like
Mm.
that. Which we had a lentil shakshuka last week or the week before, and it was delicious.
Red or green lentils?
Green,
Okay, nice.
yeah. I think I prefer the green over the red personally.
Why is that?
Better texture.
Yeah, I always felt like the red ones are a little bit harder.
Hmm. They're a little bit smaller too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, okay.
yeah.
So, what else have you been up to this week since we last talked?
Um. Well, Mandy and I made a really delicious meatloaf yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
meatloaf.
we haven't had meatloaf in a very long time, and I, wanted to make something, different than just a tightly compact slab of meat. So I found a recipe on Serious Eats by
Okay,
Kenji Lopez Alt, and it was a really interesting recipe. It was really good, really moist, really
okay.
um,
Stop using
light.
words like moist, but yeah, that's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
How many times I say moist? Like probably like a few times, maybe.
What you
Um,
said something last week, and that was also a little cringy, but that's fine. Go ahead.
oh, okay. Sorry. All right.
That's
I'll,
it.
I'll just keep a list of words, not of what not to
Yep.
say.
No, kidding.
But it was really tender. I guess is to say for meatloaf because sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
meatloaf could be like really dense and like dry and tough. But
Mm-hmm.
it was super tender, super juicy. It called for ingredients like mushrooms. Marmite was another ingredient. Two of those, like both those, I didn't have on hand, so I had to substitute like Worcestershire sauce, um, just for that umami-ness. And then
Mm-hmm.
also it called for anchovies, which I had to substitute for anchovy paste. Um, but it was really good. Like, loved it. And we're planning to make meatloaf sandwiches sometime this weekend.
Meatloaf sandwich. I was hoping, like for me, I do like meatloaf, but it's about the sandwich the next day.
Oh, absolutely.
Cheddar cheese on that meatloaf
Mm,
sandwich.
hmm. Yeah.
What was it? Did you like grate an onion into it, or like what were some of the other ingredients sort of helping it stay moist?
So what I did was, and I typically use this technique for meatballs where I'll take breadcrumbs and I'll soak them in milk
Mm-hmm.
for a few minutes and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll incorporate that into the meat and that really helps to make it nice and moist.
Mm-hmm.
And make it super tender, super juicy. So I did that for the meatloaf, but then I also processed in a food processor um, garlic, carrots, onions, and celery to a really fine like dice, I guess you could say. Sauteed that into a pan to really reduce it down, and then mix that into the meat, which was pork and beef, along with some. parsley, and then also the Worcestershire sauce and the anchovies. Just kind of mix that all together. Bake it in a pan, and then halfway through, you actually flip it onto a lined baking sheet, and then you take the
Oh,
pan off, and then you bake it some more, and then you brush it with a glaze, and put it back in the oven and keep glazing it until it creates a nice caramely, sweet, beefy loaf of goodness.
was it? So you weren't like slathering ketchup on this thing? It was like a more refined glaze.
Oh no, it was ketchup and brown
Perfect.
sugar
Oh,
and
nice. Excellent.
cider vinegar and black pepper.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I love meatloaf. But to your point, yeah, sometimes it sucks. Uh, and if you haven't like made meatloaf for the sandwiches the next day, like you just need to do it. It's one of the best leftover sandwiches.
Well, I will be sending you pictures of my meatloaf sandwich,
Ooh,
um,
I love it when you talk to
and
me like that.
and for all of our listeners, I will post it on our Instagram.
Some of the first content, real food content.
Yes,
Love it.
real food content. It's happening.
Excellent.
It's coming.
Excellent.
Um,
Excellent. Excellent.
so what did you make so far this week?
Yeah, so it's been kind of a fun week. This weekend we had a fondue party at my
What?
yeah. So my wife Jess and I went over to my brother and sister in law's house, and my cousin and her boyfriend came over, and we had many fondues, many of them, so
Do
many that we
tell.
were blowing circuit breakers from all the fondue pots.
Fondue. Tell me about this party.
Yeah. So we it was epic. There were two broth fondues. So we did a beef broth and a chicken sort of broth. Um, and then we did two cheeses. So like a kind of a classic fondue cheese and a beer cheese.
Mm.
And then we also did a chocolate fondue for dessert. And then all of the dippins. So we had like a thinly cut kind of ribeye, um, thinly
Ooh.
thinly cut chicken, all the vegetables. Geez, what the hell? Roasted potatoes. Um,
Mm.
Man, it was the table was full of fondue stuff and what are those called? Um, we plug all the multi-plug outlets like surge protectors. I tell you what, though, we stunk. It was like we were at a meat spa. Like I stunk like beef. Like it was just like embedded in me. It's like I was just at a steam bath of meat. But it was fun. It was super fun. It was good. What else? Oh, and then this week, I made chili. I made chili this week. I was really in the mood for
Mm-hmm.
chili, and I actually tried a new recipe. Um, so I feel like I've been honing and tweaking my chili recipe for years, truly years, years, years,
Mm-hmm.
years, years. And I've made it with like all different types of meat. So I made it with no meat. It sort of is a versatile kind of chili recipe. But my usually I make chili and it's good, and then the next day it's really good, right? Like that's typically how it kind of works. And
Right.
I usually cook it, and it's pretty involved. It takes a long time. I chop a lot of vegetables. I chop, a lot of onions, a lot of peppers, all different types of peppers, cook them down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a whole thing. So I was like, man, I really want to try something different. I want to do something a lot simpler. I want to see if I can get as much or more flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, like the simplified chili recipe is really good, and it was ready in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it
Wow.
was
What
quick.
what spices do you put in your chili?
Well, let me get. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Yeah. So before I would not if I'm using ground beef, I wouldn't brown the ground beef beforehand. I would actually like cook the vegetables, add the tomatoes, add whatever sort of stock or broth or beer or whatever, and then I would kind of put the meat in and just cook it down because then it like creates this like really fine meat chili thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm gonna do the opposite of that. I dumped the meat in, maybe like 2.5, 3 pounds. Started to brown it up enough, not completely, because I didn't want it to be some dry, dusty crap. And then one onion and maybe like three or four loaves, or loaves, three or four pieces of garlic. You know, um, pretty finely minced. And I did not put any peppers in like I
Mm-hmm.
normally do. Um, Usually I get like a jalapeno, I get a bell, sometimes cubanellas, sometimes it's Fresnos, like whatever they have at the store. I'll get a combination and usually put them in. But I didn't do any of that. I got 2 cans of green chilies.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
And a large can of diced tomatoes.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
All right.
And a thing of tomato paste. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's pretty much and obviously beans. I think I did like 3 standard cans of beans, red kidney beans or whatever. So in the pan, ground beef, onion, garlic, tomato paste, and the my go-to sort of chili seasonings are obviously ground chili powder. Um, Sometimes I use smoked or like Mexican chili powder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe like a tablespoon per pound. I go pretty heavy on cumin.
Mm-hmm.
Oregano is really good. Um, Obviously you're using salt and
Right.
pepper. I will say, like, if you don't have a bunch of seasonings on hand, like chili starters are completely fine. I would just steer clear of the ones that are like look for the low sodium ones or
Mm-hmm.
less sodium
Right.
because it's just easier to control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, that varies honestly. Whatever I'm kind of pulling out of my out of the spice cabinet or whatever, and then a beer like one. In this case, I used a Modelo, one
Mm-hmm.
beer. Yeah, and I cooked it, and
Mm.
once like everything was cooked and hot, it was really really good. Um, I will say I did what I usually do for my tacos, which was sour cream, lime juice, and a couple chopped chilies and adobo that I mixed together in like this crema, and I dolloped that on top.
Oh, that's a hefty chili, my friend.
It's but I was so amazed by how much more flavor I got out of that than I would
Mm-hmm.
normally get from like the much more labor intensive, longer cooking process. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Wow. That's really interesting.
Hmm.
Um. The and the first recipe that you were talking about, not browning the meat, quite surprising.
Yeah.
Um.
You know,
Like,
I
tell me more
stopped
about
doing
that.
that. Why did I start doing that?
Yeah.
So my old boss, when I work, who was a chef, when I was working at Sucre in New Orleans, he sort of suggested doing that. I think because like people do have a tendency, I will say people have a tendency to overcook and over brown ground beef, and it gets
Mm-hmm.
like a very unpleasant texture.
Mm-hmm.
And it not only gets a very unpleasant texture, but like if you cook it in these big clumps and you get these like big weird clumps of like not super flavorful food, and it
Hmm.
works. Like putting it in at the end completely works. Obviously, you just need to cook it and make sure it's
Right.
cooked through.
Right.
Um, and it gives you like a kind of a different chili texture because it becomes much more fine and throughout the chili. Um, I don't know if browning your meat a little bit creates a ton of flavor in the grand scheme of things, though. When you're making chili, like I don't
Hmm.
think that's what the difference was, to be honest. I don't know what it was, but it was so
Hmm.
much better than what I typically make. I do think that canned chili, uh, the canned green chilies are a good go-to for putting in most almost anything. Really, they're kind of a nice
Right.
little weapon to put in your food.
Yeah. Um, I would say, yeah, you probably get a lot of flavor from just those alone.
Yeah,
Um,
but I usually put
that
those in the other ones too.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
so interesting to me.
it was so
Yeah,
good. It was so good.
yeah. I'm going to have to try the no browning meat thing for chili.
Well, uh,
I'm gonna try
you can
it.
try. Okay,
Yeah, I'm curious now. Like, that's why I love having these conversations. We learn from each other.
we do.
Um, and I would definitely love to, try that and see if it's better. It might be better. You might have converted me. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I browned my meat a little bit this time, and it was better. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I will say the one of the reasons too, um, for that I thought helped when you're cooking in a pot and you're making chili, you kind of run out of surface area on the bottom.
Hmm.
So if you start with meat, you you will have to take it out if you start putting a lot of vegetables in, else you'll
Right.
overcook your meat. Or
Hmm.
vice versa. Like if you cook your vegetables, you'll just be steaming your meat anyway. So um, depending on how big of a batch you make, you'll be taking things out if you don't just throw it in at the end. So there's a practicality to not browning it if you don't think it's going to create that much flavor.
Right.
But like I was not layering up vegetables like before. I would chop carrots, celery, onions, garlic, 3 or 4 different types of peppers, put those in the pot. Oftentimes the green chilies, tomato paste, my seasoning, even roast that, and then my tomatoes would go in, and then my stock or broth or beer or whatever I have on hand, and then my meat, and then my beans, and then oftentimes I
Hmm.
even put like frozen corn in or something.
Right.
Yeah, but this was way better.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do that again. I'm actually
Hmm.
very sad about this because I really was happy about my chili recipe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Chili's just one of those recipes. I mean, you can riff on, like every recipe, you can riff on it. But like chili's just one of those things. You just like dump everything in a pot. Like
Yeah,
it could be whatever you want, and it comes
yeah,
out. It comes out great. Like either way. I can't say that I've had a really bad chili unless it was like Hormel canned chili, which is great on like things like hot dogs.
yeah.
Like
It has purpose in
I'm
life.
not knocking it. It does have purpose in life. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, chili's just one of those things. And for all you listeners out there, tell us your chili recipe. Like, what's a unique thing that you do to your chili that makes it the
Mm,
best? We want to know.
yeah.
We'd want to try it. Let us know.
Yes, yes. Share your chili recipe. I made like chili with chicken thighs once, and it was so
Oh,
good.
okay.
And I only ever did it once. I feel like I need to
Yeah.
do it again. But it was one of those like I was riffing and I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing, and it came out better than I expected. And I was like, oh shoot,
And
I don't remember what I did.
was it like a tomato based recipe or was it like
Hmm.
a green chili recipe? Okay.
No, it
Interesting.
was, but I've always wanted to do like a white chili corn chicken thigh thing. I feel like that would
Hmm.
be a really, and maybe even to your point, like real heavy on the green chilies. That would be really
Hmm.
nice. Yeah, with
Yeah.
the chicken thighs. Ooh.
Have you ever had pozole?
Uh, yes.
So that's almost like a type of chili.
It is kind of like a
Or
chili. You're
more
right.
more of like a stew, but
Yeah.
that made me think of it like with like the chicken,
Mm-hmm.
and like a tomatoey based like chili sauce, throw in some hominy. You have pozole.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
It's amazing. Everybody has their own version of chili in the world.
they do.
They
They
do.
really do. Yeah.
Yeah. The nice thing about chicken, and this is where I think it deviates from the ground beef too, is browning chicken and getting fond in the pan and also like brown chicken flavor is goes a long way. Like
Hmm.
it definitely works when you're cooking. I
Yeah.
think more so than just ground beef personally, but
Hmm.
could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
no
so
wrong way.
I've been eating chili like for the last 2 days. It's been good.
You should make some chili mac.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Some mac
What
and
kind?
cheese with chili on it.
Or just cook up some pasta, throw some chili on it.
Isn't that like what they do in Cincinnati? They just put chili on pasta.
Maybe. I don't know for sure.
I thought that was like some weird. Uh, for all of our Cincinnati listeners, which I'm sure there's some, um, is that a thing? Chili on spaghetti?
Let us know.
So
Very
when you
curious.
you just make some pasta and you throw chili on it, that's it?
Yeah, I mean that's an option. Or if you want to get fancy, make some mac and cheese and throw some chili on it. Why not?
Okay. What kind
Yeah.
of like elbows or doesn't matter?
Or like elbows, or fusilli, anything that really holds
The big, yeah, the
the,
chunkiness.
the big cheese. Yeah, big cheese, little chunks of meat.
Okay, I'm gonna do that
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow
Yeah.
for lunch. Nice light chili and pasta carb. Be sleeping at my desk. Holy smokes!
Yeah. Um, excuse me. While I
What
pour
do you?
myself
Oh,
another
what are you
beverage.
drinking? What are you drinking?
So I am still kind of sort of on a non-alcoholic
Okay.
kick. So
Yeah.
I'm drinking. It's a Gia spritz that I was telling you about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You. That's what we talked about those.
Yes. Um, these are fantastic. Gia, if you want to sponsor us, that would be great. Um, this is not a sponsor or an ad. I just love this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
It's really, really good, really tasty. Um, highly recommend it. If you're, looking for a nice after dinner bitter aperitif,
Hmm.
I highly recommend it.
So that's ready to
It's
go
really
right
good.
there in the can. You don't have to mix that with
It's
anything.
ready to go. Hmm.
Nice. Excellent. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
try that stuff.
and they also sell it in a big bottle that you can doesn't have soda in it. That you could mix with sparkling water or different
Oh.
ingredients.
So it's almost like a Palm Wonderful bottle where it's like a concentrate that you can make your own soda with.
Yep,
Oh, nice.
it's really good.
Nice.
Highly recommend it. Nice and bitter.
Okay, I'm into it. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, um, what else? What else we want to cover today? We got some ideas.
So I really want to know about the sponge rotations, so we could talk about bad habits we do in the kitchen. Please
Yeah.
tell me what about your sponge rotation.
Well, yeah. You uh, were talking about well, some things that maybe we don't like to share like in public and specifically that happened in the kitchen, and I was thinking about it, and there's probably two things that stand out, and they kind of contrast each other. It's weird. It doesn't make sense that I do this thing. So um sponge rotation is one of those things. I typically have two sponges going.
Okay.
One sponge is the newer sponge that I use to wash dishes with. Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
that is the new sponge. Uh, the when that sponge becomes old, it becomes the old sponge, and I get a new sponge for dishes. The old sponge becomes the crappy sponge that I just sop up around, like, just wipe crud
Oh.
up with. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it's like kind
Yeah.
of gross because I clean, counters off with it and whatever, whatever, whatever. And I probably don't rotate them as frequently as I should. The other thing that I'm not super proud of is the sheer amount of paper towels that I use. You know,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
and I have a hard time with it because I often use them because like I'm trying to be really mindful about being clean and tidy when I'm
Right.
cooking,
Hmm.
and I really care about food safety and all this sort of stuff, and
Hmm.
I don't want to clean up chicken with like the sponge that sits there. You know what I mean? Like immediately
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
but I don't feel great about the number of paper towels that I use.
Right. Um, have you guys thought about just using like kitchen towels for most things, but then using the paper towels just for anything that
Yeah.
bacteria related that could be
Yeah.
cross contamination or anything like that.
Yeah. I have a pile of sort of like inexpensive, kitchen towels that um I definitely use. Here's another you're learning a lot about me. So I don't use like oven mitts or anything. I usually have a
Do
couple
you,
paper towels. Just
I was gonna
barehanded.
say just bare
Sometimes.
hand.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah, it's hot. But no, but here's the thing. Um I'm really bad at it. So if you're in a kitchen or if you're working in a professional kitchen, like you have two towels.
Mhm.
One towel is like stays dry and another towel can get damp. And you never use the damp towel to pull things out of the oven or touch hot things because water turns to steam and it transfers
Mhm.
heat and you burn the hell out of yourself. Like you really, if
Right.
depending on how wet your towel is, like you pull a hot pan out of the oven, you are gonna get burned. And
Okay.
I'm so bad at it. Like I'm so bad at like whatever towel I have, I grab hot stuff with all the time, and I'm just like, oh, it's terrible. I don't
There's
go get the UV glove. I don't put on the oven mitt. I don't get a dry towel. It's just the towel that I have.
see I can relate to that. Like we do have oven mitts, but for the most of the time, I just use them for taking things in and out of the oven. If I'm like cooking a steak on like a cast iron and I want to like baste it, I'll just take a towel, wrap the handle, and
Yep.
use that. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I'll take stuff out of the oven with a towel.
Yeah.
Um,
As long as
so
it's
it's
not
not
wet,
that.
it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not that bad.
But if it's
I feel
wet,
like that.
you'll burn yourself. That's
Well,
the
oh
point.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're
Yeah.
saying you pick up stuff with a wet towel?
All the time.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's bad.
Because the towel becomes the towel and I'm like wiping things up and I'm not, I'm bad at keeping separate towels, you know what I mean?
Mm, hmm.
So it often is like the towel that is, it's on my shoulder, it's on the counter, it's in the oven, it's just the towel. I don't keep good
So
track of dry towels.
you 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 have a Headley and Bennett apron, am I
I
right?
do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So why don't you just
Great
keep one
apron.
fantastic apron?
Yeah.
Um, why
Not a
don't you?
sponsorship by any means.
But if you want to sponsor us, we are totally up for that. Um, why don't you just put a towel on the little loop on the right hand side?
Yeah. Um, so I don't always wear the apron unless I'm doing like heavy cooking. In
Okay.
that case, I that's a great place to put it, and I try to do that as well. I do try to keep one on the apron. Yeah, good call. Good. It's
Yeah.
I think um, aprons are wildly underrated for home cooks, and
Hmm.
most people should
Yeah.
have them. It's not just like a fashion statement; they're super practical, and even
Hmm.
if you're not in a like a professional kitchen or something, uh, they're great to have
Yeah.
because like just having a pen or a Sharpie on me when I'm
Mhm.
if you're especially during the holiday season or you have an event or you're cooking for a lot of people, like I often write out every um not like every recipe per se, but like all the ingredients that I need for that whatever I'm cooking, and it's
Mhm.
really nice to sort of have something to take notes on.
Yeah. That and a
Yeah,
thermometer. Having the thermometer handy,
yeah, oh for sure.
that's super nice to have. Um, but yeah, and like it's to me, whenever I wear it, I feel clean and tidy. Granted, I'm terrible at washing my apron
Mm-hmm.
frequently. I'll
Mm-hmm.
go months without washing it and it looks absolutely gross. But that being
Yeah,
said, all that grossness can be on your clothes if you
right.
don't wear it. And then it's just
Yeah,
you're worried about like stuff getting on your clothes and it takes you away from focusing in on what you should be doing, like paying attention to what's like on the stove or in the oven or
yeah.
those types of things.
That's a really good point, Justin. I don't even think I thought of it like that, but I bet you that I cook differently if I'm wearing an apron versus I don't. And that's yeah, you probably are a little bit more conscious or um, like resistant to cooking a certain way if you're worried about getting sauce on your shirt or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good
And
point.
it's just one of those things that, you really don't think about. Like if you put on a nice shirt to go to work and then you come home and then you start cooking, you might not think about it, but then as you're cooking, you get something on it, and then you're like, "Oh shit, I got this on
Yeah,
my nice shirt," and then it kind of takes you away
yeah,
um, the joys of cooking and really focusing in on what you're doing. Um, that being said, like you don't need to buy a Headley and Bennett apron. Granted, they
Mm-mm.
are really nice, but just any apron can work.
Yeah. No, there's oh shoot, I wish it's like Chef something has really good aprons that are inexpensive. You can find them online, and
Hmm.
they're really high quality, and they work really great. And they have all different types of material as
Hmm.
well. I wish I could remember the name. Um, so wait, what's your bad kitchen habit other than like not washing your laundry for months at a time?
So sometimes I'll get into the habit, like a few different things. So I'll get in the habit of washing my knives, and instead of drying them off right away and putting them in the
Mm,
knife rack, I
mm-hmm,
will leave them on the drying rack overnight.
mm-hmm,
And then I'll come back and it's like, oh, there's water spots and all this other
mm-hmm.
stuff on them. So that's something that I'm like trying to like get out of the habit. Um, Trying to like clean up as many dishes as I can before like going to bed, just so I can wake up to like a clean kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Still having a hard time with that. And,
Are
like the
you
dishes just
a
pile up, and
let the pan soak? Let the pan soak. You know.
I am. Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
I'm
No,
not.
me too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I am too. I am too.
yeah, yeah.
There's no judgment here. This is safe
Yeah.
space.
Yes,
Yeah.
safe space.
I just washed my chili
Yeah.
bowl. Like I was letting my enamel Dutch oven, soak overnight from my chili, which there's no reason to. It's you can wipe it right out, but you
Right.
just like there's nothing crusted on it. It would have wiped right out. But I mean, I just gotta let it soak. Just let it soak overnight.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's just me being lazy. And like, if
Mhm.
I've had a long fucking day and cooked this whole thing, I really don't
Yeah,
feel like watching this right now. It needs to soak.
yeah, it needs to soak. Yeah, yeah.
um, and so another bad weird thing that I do is say if I have something in the oven or if I have something in the microwave, I have a habit of like opening it up like when it has like 1 or 2 seconds left without it actually like riding out, and I just like open it up and like pull whatever out rather than waiting the full 2 seconds. It's a weird thing that I noticed that I've been doing, and I
Like you
don't
don't
know
want to you
why.
don't want to hear the beep or
It's not even that. It's like I don't want to wait 2 seconds to. I'm just gonna pull it out now.
okay.
Like, granted,
I
like,
don't I don't know
yeah,
what that
it's
is.
not gonna like 2 seconds isn't gonna make a difference, but it's
Gotcha.
just I don't know. It's a more of a patience type thing, I guess you could say.
Hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know if that's like a terrible detrimental thing, but yeah, maybe that just says a lot about your weird personality or, psychosis that
Yeah,
you're working through, you know?
yeah, one of them. Uh, I should have asked Mandy what she thinks my bad habits in the kitchen are, just to
Oh,
see from an outsider's perspective. Um, yeah.
I leave my knife out. That being said, like we talked about how my kitchen isn't like a really refined setup because we haven't like spent time in there because we think we're going to, renovate it or whatever. But
Hmm.
um, I leave my knife out on the cutting board. Like I'll wash it. I
Hmm.
will dry it because I don't want it to get shitty, but I
Yeah.
just leave I just leave it out all the time. And it's kind of, well, it's probably dangerous, but then you come in, you have groceries, you drop, you dump them on the
Mm,
like this thing's just getting like pushed around all the time, and that's like probably
right.
not a good idea. It's like kind of a
Probably
bad
not.
habit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can damage it. You could damage yourself, cut yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being a bad habit.
Yeah.
But no, I do the same thing, except it's not a clean knife; it's a dirty knife.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I was thinking, as we're talking here, we're talking a lot about like stuff and equipment. And one
hmm
thing that before we got on, I said, "Hey, Jess, like, what should we talk about? Like, what would be helpful? Like, what do people want to hear?" And so my wife historically doesn't cook. It's not like her passion or anything, but she's starting to get into it. We got this really great uh, Jamie Oliver's new book called One, and it's so easy to follow. The meals that she made in it are really good, and it's not like a tacky, you know, one pot. Throw everything in the crock pot and forget it kind of a book. Like it's really like teaching people how to cook and layering flavors, and it's she's kind of getting into cooking and learning how to cut and all that sort of stuff. So she mentioned uh what kind of like leveling up in the kitchen, right? So if you're starting from zero, maybe you're in college or just out of college and you're just been toting whatever random mishmash of stuff that you cook in, uh like where do you start your first sort of purchase? And this, to be we are not saying like we're going to go out and break the bank. This
no,
is like what what tools do you want to upgrade within the budget that you can afford, right?
hmm yeah. I whew. Immediately I would go to. It's a toss up between knives and or pans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like a good, decent sharp knife. Is I would probably say knives, just because a sharp knife is a safe knife,
Yeah,
um, and if you have like a really crappy shitty knife and you're trying to cut something, you can cut yourself pretty easily, um, and you can get like decent pans to cook with, um, relatively inexpensively. Um, Also too, I feel like it's, like you said, you don't need to have the most expensive
yeah.
equipment to make good food. um I kind of feel that way about pans.
I agree. I
Like
I
if
can I
yeah,
can cook in the shittiest pan possible. Like
yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
camping, like I can find if I find a piece of aluminum, I can cook on that. Like you
Hmm.
can make that happen. I'm with
Yeah.
you though. I think the knife and I'll say the cutting board. Get a cutting board and
Hmm.
get a knife. And you don't have
Yeah.
to get like an end grain. Don't get an end grain cutting board. You don't have to get a wooden cutting board. Get
No.
like a nylon cutting board that you can cut everything on. You can throw in the dishwasher. You can scrub it off.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you want to protect the surface that you're cutting on, but you also want to protect the knife to keep it sharp. And
Exactly.
to your point, um, A dull knife is an insanely dangerous knife. I'm never more frustrated if I'm somewhere trying to. I go to my mom's house and I'm cooking, and like my brother and I got so frustrated, we just bought her a whole new knife set for Christmas, just so like we don't have to fight knives in the, you know what I mean, in the house.
Yeah.
Um,
Mandy and
but
I travel with knives whenever we go to uh
yeah,
either
so do
like
I.
yeah, like wherever we go, we bring our own knives.
Yeah, because it's just like it's maddening. And then I will say too, like if you're getting into cooking, the other thing about having a decent knife and cutting setup is you're going to be able to practice cutting all sorts of stuff, which means you'll get better at it and makes
Mhm.
processing vegetables and things, breaking down, veg and chickens or proteins or whatever, way less tedious and more enjoyable. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I feel like the knife and cutting board, and you can get a Victorinox, you know, chef knife, 8-inch chef knife,
Mhm.
very inexpensively. It's like
Yeah.
stamped steel. They're literally bulletproof.
Hmm.
They keep an edge on it for a very long time. You can sharpen it. You can throw it in the trash when you're done and buy a new one in a couple years, and like it's fine. It's totally fine. The
Yeah.
handle on it is like a non-slip handle. It's what
Hmm.
they use in industrial kitchens, and it's a really good thing to start with.
Yeah. Don't waste your time getting these, as seen on TV things that help you cut vegetables.
No,
Don't
don't
waste
do
your
it.
don't waste your money on those. Use that money towards a nice set of knives, and it could just be two or three knives. Like that's really all you need: chef's knife, serrated knife, paring knife.
Yep. Yep.
That's all you need. Yeah,
Certainly to start.
don't buy. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go crazy. Don't buy these weird unitasker things that don't buy slap chops. No, no. Go buy yourself a nice knife set, decent quality knife set, and you're good.
Practice. Just practice cutting onions and
Yeah,
carrots.
yeah.
Carrots are deceivingly tricky. They're hard. They're dense to get through. They roll. Um, they get wider, so you need to adjust how you cut to keep your pieces relatively the same size. You know, like those are the
Hmm.
things you should be thinking about and practicing when you're working through
Yeah.
stuff.
And then also hand placement of the vegetables and hand placement of your hand on the knife. Um,
Yep. Yep.
but how you cut a vegetable is insanely important because you don't want to chop your finger off. Um, it's all about keeping your fingers tucked in and then using the edge of your finger as a guide for the knife. Um, but please watch videos if you know someone who knows how to cook, who knows how to do this. Go to them and have them show you. Do not do not rely
Yeah.
on us. Um,
Yeah.
without because we can't physically show you, but if you know someone who knows how to cook, who knows how to chop vegetables properly, go to them, ask them, have them show you.
Yeah. So that's I think that's a great point. Not only the hand holding the vegetable, obviously you want to keep that out of the way. And look, if you're going to be cooking forever, you are going to nick yourself with a knife. Like it's going to happen,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be severe if you're like doing things correctly. You know, if
Hmm.
you if you're doing things incorrectly, you have a dull knife. You're putting way too much pressure on it. You're holding it weird. Like that's going to be really dangerous. If you have a really sharp knife and you practicing good cutting etiquette, yeah, you might nick yourself and it's going to be fine. Like it's totally
Hmm.
going to be fine, but you're not going to like
Yeah,
drive a dull knife through your hand, which will end like keep you in the ER or something.
exactly.
Um,
And also like take your time. There's
yeah,
no rush. um like if you're cooking dinner for a family, take your time. They can wait. They'd rather wait to have dinner than have blood in their food. um
that's a perfect, yes, nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like, don't rush. Take your time. Get comfortable with it. Yeah.
Um, Maybe along the lines too. I think this is a nice tip. So, uh, we're kind of talking about cleaning, cleaning the kitchen, sponges, whatever. I don't love, like industrial cleaners, bleaches, ammonias. I don't. There's
Hmm.
a lot of reasons why I don't like them. One, like simply, they can break down whatever surface you have. So if you have wood, if you have a stone, like they will eat away whatever protective surface they have over time. Also, I don't think it's a good idea to like spray chemical aerosols in the area where
Yeah.
you keep food, pots and pans, and other things.
Yeah.
I understand why people get freaked out and want to use that, but that's why I have two types of cutting boards. I have a wooden cutting board where I cut all my vegetables and things that don't harbor, salmonella or other
Hmm.
kind of animal born things. And I have large. They're very inexpensive. Large sort of plastic or nylon cutting boards that I'll just set over top of my wooden cutting board, process whatever I'm using, and then that goes into the dishwasher or the sink. Typically, the sink first, and then the dishwasher,
Hmm.
just to keep like things tidy. But you cut a lot of onions, and your wooden cutting board is going to get stinky, right?
Yeah.
And it's wood. You can't soak it in the sink, and you can clean it with like a soap detergent and stuff, but that often does not get the stank out of the cutting board. So here's what I do. I don't know if you do this. Kosher salt. I cover the surface of the cutting board with kosher salt, and then I cut lemons in half. I
Mm-hmm.
squeeze the lemon juice over it, and I scrub the cutting board and salt with the lemon, right? So it turns into like
Hmm.
this slurry, and I really, really, really scrub it, like as with like the salt and lemon as an abrasive, and that works really, really well.
So my one friend, who is a woodworker, shout out to Corey Nalbone. He makes cutting boards, and whenever he sells them to customers, he it includes care instructions, and that is one of the steps is using lemons and salt to help get
Oh,
rid of
nice.
that smell. Yeah.
Okay, see, I knew
So
what I was doing.
you've been doing it. You've been doing it right this whole time.
Yeah, I just saw the kitchen staff doing that in the back of a kitchen once, and I thought, oh man, I'm going to do this at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Um, what else? Okay, so I guess keeping with the kitchen theme, we should probably do a much better job of like marking like what we've talked about.
That's true. Yeah,
But we'll get there. It's
we
fine.
will get there.
Yeah. What about, let me see here. Yeah, we can edit out this long pause.
Snip, 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 snip. Hold for editing.
Yeah. Also, I guess it depends on how long you want to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we can maybe talk about one more thing.
Yeah, okay. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What about? Do you have any? Maybe I don't know. What else? What else is helpful in the kitchen? Thoughts, feels.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
What's
So
your I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say let's talk about gizmos and gadgets.
Okay, I like gizmos and gadgets.
What's your favorite gadget in the kitchen that's not like knives or pans or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
something that you keep in the junk drawer, not the junk drawer, the
No, it's a
utility
junk
drawer.
drawer. It's a junk drawer.
Okay. What do you keep in your
Yeah.
junk drawer?
What do I keep in it? So, you you mentioned something earlier, and you said the word unitasker, which
Mm-hmm.
I like that you said that because there are a lot of them out there,
Yeah.
and they are so specific to doing one thing that you can often do with another thing. So
Mm-hmm.
not only are you buying something that you're only ever going to use when you're doing that one thing, and it also takes up space in your kitchen, right? That you could
Mm-hmm.
be
Right.
allocating for something else.
Yeah.
So I think it's great to go into buying kitchen stuff with the mindset of, does this thing only allow me to do something that I can do with a knife,
Mm-hmm.
or I can do with whatever. Um, that being said, I have a unitasker um, that I actually think is kind of handy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a little thing that I put peeled garlic into, and I roll it back and forth, and it comes out minced. And it's only for garlic, but it is an immense time saver. Honestly, I haven't used it in a while because I actually don't even know where it is right now in the junk drawer. Um, but it I've used it definitely more than once, and I kind of like using it. It is a little bit of a pain in the ass to clean.
Right.
Now, if I was gonna, if you're asking me what one of my, I think my new favorite thing as of late is, um, I use a thermometer a lot. Everybody should have a good
Mm-hmm.
thermometer, but the
Mm-hmm.
mandolin, I really like
Mm-hmm.
the mandolin. It saves time. It is can be dangerous, but
Yeah.
it's so, if you need something super thin, like I made a fennel and cara orange salad, and for that your fennel needs to be like paper thin, like you can see through it.
Mm-hmm.
So the mandolin comes in really nice for that.
There's something so satisfying, like when you're slicing something
Yeah.
juicy, like a cucumber,
Hmm.
that it just like glides
Yeah. Yeah.
over the blade, and then they
Yeah.
just come out like paper thin, like stacking up,
Yeah.
and like yeah, it's so like yeah, juice flying everywhere.
Yeah.
It's great.
I, I do like a mandolin. What about you?
So it's funny you talked about the garlic mincer because I have one too, and that is my favorite kitchen tool.
Really?
It is.
Are you trolling? Are you trolling me right now? I can't even tell if it's
I am
okay.
not trolling you, my friend. It's so my one friend gave it to me years ago, and I was like, all right, I'll use this. So it's like that's a unitask or whatever. But and so instead of rolling it, it's like yeah, two halves that you put the garlic cloves in, and it has like two rows of teeth on the top and the bottom, and then you twist it with your hands, and the
I
teeth
think
just like
he
what?
gave you a I think he gave you a pot grinder. I don't think that's a garlic grinder. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I
Okay.
didn't like it could be. I don't touch this stuff.
Yeah. But so that's and it's not used for anything else, just garlic.
I use ginger in it
Oh,
too.
okay. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good. Okay. I could
yeah.
see that.
Like
It,
if there's a recipe that calls for garlic and ginger, I'll just throw them both in and minces it up in like seconds.
yeah.
And it's, I mean, like yeah, I could do it with a knife, but oh man, it's just so nice to have it minced up like uniformly because
Mhm.
sometimes mincing garlic can be a little tedious.
Yeah.
Um, there's nothing wrong. You do it perfectly fine with a knife, but this device, it's just so nice.
That's cool. Oh,
Yeah.
here's another one. Uh because it can do both of these things, and it actually isn't a unitasker. I think that if you have a little bit of money, get yourself a microplane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get yourself a microplane. You can. That's usually how the thought of like chopping ginger is like hell no. I'm not going to do that. The microplane, you can run that through there. You can run garlic through it. I think I
Mm-hmm.
might actually get a second microplane, so I have like one for smelly things like garlic and ginger and stuff, and then maybe
Yeah.
one for cheese because I often grate my cheese for like pastas and stuff with the microplane as well.
And for zesting as well.
And for zesting, maybe I need three.
Yeah. I think you can get away with two.
I probably need three.
I have, dude, I have one that I use for all three of those things.
Me too. I do too.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of having like different handled ones. This is like OCD or
Mm.
something. It's like,
Okay.
oh, the yellow handled, that one's for the zest.
Okay.
The white
Yeah.
handled ones for the cheese. Like that's where
Yeah.
my head goes. I just
Yeah.
like the idea of these different colored microplanes.
Mm. Actually, no. I'm sorry. We have two.
So, oh, okay.
One that has a handle that folds, and one that's like long and skinny. But I use both of them for like all three of those things as well.
Yeah. I do
Yeah,
love them. I love the microplane. If
I do
if
too.
there's something that is in, I even keep the protective shield on it because I really really like that tool a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another? I'm trying to think of another good one.
When you're cooking,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so like maybe you're making a sauce or a chili or something with a lot of veg, whatever. Like you're just cooking. Um, what is your go-to utensil to sort of move things around in the pan with?
Wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, just only because it's safe for like nonstick and it won't scratch up. It won't scratch up your stainless steel or your nonstick pans.
Yeah.
Um, and it's great for whenever I wanted to like taste stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes a silicone spatula doesn't really work all that well, and then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it gets like all fucked up and it can burn and all this other stuff. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
use it's probably the cheapest wooden utensil, but it's not the spoon shape. It's sort of a flat. It has like a
no,
flat edge, and
yeah,
I use it 90%. Like if I'm cooking that, I'm probably using that thing.
yeah, that can help
Yeah,
like scrape up
yeah.
fond and
That's what I
all
like. I
this
like
other
that
stuff.
it sort of doubles as a scraper
Yeah,
when I'm cooking. I like that a lot.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Those are great. Wooden spoon
Yeah.
all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever get threatened, but like your mom growing up, did you ever, I'm gonna get the wooden spoon out, or is that just my childhood?
No, I feel like this is like most kids' childhoods. I never experienced that. It was more of a like my dad was gonna like throw a shoe at me, which is
Okay.
like more threatening than a spoon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was always I never got the spoon. Thankfully, I got plenty of other things, but it was always a threat, an empty threat.
Mm. Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
like an Italian thing too. It's like I'm gonna get the spoon. Like I don't know. That's how my
I, th-
parents
I
grew
think
up.
it I think it might be an Italian American thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the wooden
Yeah,
spoon. And it's
yeah,
always like I'm going to get the wooden spoon. It's not like I'm going to get the spoon. I'm going to get the wooden spoon.
yeah. That's when like shit's going
Yeah,
down.
like that's the Sunday sauce spoon. That's hefty. That's the one that's
Yeah,
coming out.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that shit's gonna hurt.
yeah. I like this. I like this. Talking about the stuff because
The
uh,
stuff.
yeah, the stuff. Well, it's easy to get caught up in it, and I've done it.
Yeah.
Like there's all these like cool gadgets, and there's like beautiful knives, and
Hmm.
everybody's coming out with something new. And
Yeah.
I think should definitely keep talking about this because I do think it dovetails into another conversation about um, celebrity endorsed stuff or products made by
Yeah.
influencers, but also like there's new products coming out. Like David Chang has really thoughtful, functional stuff that he's kind of coming out with that I think we could
Mm-hmm.
certainly take a look at or test even,
Yeah. Yeah.
which seems really cool. But um, I don't know. Like let's hear from the listeners here. What do you want us to talk about? You can email us at scratchthehog@gmail.com. Also, like and subscribe. That really helps. Hit the stars. Subscribe. Listen.
Yeah. Also, comment on this video as well. What's your favorite? What's your favorite kitchen utensil? Your favorite unitasker? Your guilty pleasure? Uh, unitasker kitchen gadget. We want to know.
We do want to know. Are we calling it? Is that episode 3 in the books?
Um, I'd say that's episode 3, but I do want to again I want to thank Susan for being our very first
Yeah.
hogaholic to
Hogaholic.
email us. So Susan, thank you so much. We'd love to hear from you again.
Suzanne.
Oh, what did I say?
Susan.
Oh,
Wrong emphasis. It's okay.
sorry. I'm
She's
sorry.
done.
She's not a hogaholic anymore.
She's not a hogaholic.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm
Suze.
sorry, Suzanne.
Yeah, Suze. Love it. Hogaholic. We need more.
We do.
Uh, and yeah, episode 3 in the books. Um, like, subscribe, and hope you tune in next week, next time, whenever we drop these things. Okay,
Yes.
man.
And Zach, love your face.
I love your face. Take it easy, buddy.
All right, you too, bud.
Bye.
Bye.